August 1945, to blinding flashes of light erupted over Japan, ending World War II, but opening the door to a darker age of mass destruction. In mere seconds, Hiroshima was turned into a burning wasteland. 3 days later, Nagasaki met the same fate. Over 200,000 people died, and millions more suffered the long-term effects. For nearly 80 years, one haunting question remains. Why did the United States decide to use nuclear bombs? Was it a military necessity or a cold, calculated political move? Let's uncover the historical truth behind the most devastating weapons ever used in war. And welcome to the Late Night History Storyteller channel. World War II was nearing its end. Nazi Germany had surrendered. But in the Pacific, Japan continued to resist fiercely. From Iwo Jima to Okinawa, every step forward by American forces came at the cost of tens of thousands of lives. An invasion of mainland Japan was estimated to cause over 1 million military and civilian casualties. For President Truman and the U.S. military command, an urgent decision had to be made. Continue fighting using traditional methods or find a faster, more decisive way to end the war. At the same time, a top-secret project was ready to shift the global balance of power, the Manhattan Project. This project not only created the first weapons of mass destruction in human history, but also changed America's legacy in warfare. It made the U.S. the only country to have ever used nuclear weapons in combat, and it ushered in a new era and age of global fear. From that moment on, the world no longer saw the U.S. merely as a liberating force, but as a superpower wielding the ability to wipe out entire cities in seconds. In 1939, a warning arrived. Scientists believed Nazi Germany was working on a powerful new type of bomb. Albert Einstein signed a letter to President Roosevelt, urging the U.S. to act first. What followed was one of the most secretive and expensive projects in history, the Manhattan Project. Over 130,000 people, billions of dollars, and 3 years of relentless research across hidden sites in Los Alamos, Oak Ridge, and Hanford. Their goal: harness the power of the atom to create a weapon unlike anything the world had ever seen. On July 16, 1945, in the New Mexico desert, the world changed forever. The first atomic bomb test, codenamed Trinity, lit up the sky with a blinding flash and a mushroom cloud that rose miles high. Witnessing the blast led scientist J. Robert Oppenheimer, quoted from ancient scripture, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." The weapon worked, and now it was ready for use. With the atomic bomb now in his hands, President Harry Truman faced a monumental decision. Japan was weakening, but still refused unconditional surrender. American leaders feared that without a powerful shock, Japan would continue the war, or worse, drag the Soviet Union deeper into Asia. The Soviets had just declared war on Japan and were advancing from the north. A nuclear demonstration, some believed, could end the war before Stalin gained more influence in the region. Truman's advisors argued the bomb could serve two purposes: to save lives, both American and Japanese, by avoiding a bloody ground invasion, and to send a message to the world, especially the Soviet Union. The atomic bomb was no longer just a military tool. It was now a political weapon, aimed as much at shaping the post-war world as it was at defeating Japan. Soon, two Japanese cities would become ground zero for this new age of power. August 6, 1945. The U.S. bomber Enola Gay took off from Tinian Island, carrying Little Boy, a uranium-based atomic bomb. At 8:15 a.m., The bomb was dropped over Hiroshima. In a blinding flash, the city was consumed by fire and shockwaves. Over 70,000 people died instantly. Tens of thousands more would perish from injuries and radiation in the days and months that followed. 3 days later, on August 9th, a second bomb Fat Man was dropped on Nagasaki. Another 40,000 lives were lost instantly. In total, over 200,000 people died as a result of the two atomic bombings. These were not just military targets, they were cities filled with civilians. The human toll was unimaginable. Entire families were erased. Survivors, known as Hibakusha, would bear the scars physical and emotional for the rest of their lives. On August 15, 1945, Japan announced its surrender. World War II was officially over, but the world had changed forever. The use of atomic bombs ended the deadliest conflict in human history. But it also began one of the most controversial chapters in modern warfare. Was it justified? Some argue the bombings saved millions of lives by forcing a swift Japanese surrender. Others say Japan was already on the brink of defeat and the bombings were unnecessary, even inhumane. In the decades that followed, the shadow of Hiroshima and Nagasaki loomed large. The Cold War triggered a global arms race. Nations raced to build more powerful bombs. The threat of nuclear annihilation became a permanent feature of world politics. For Japan, the scars are still visible. Hiroshima and Nagasaki became symbols not just of destruction, but of peace. Every year, survivors and activists gather to remember the victims and to call for a world free of nuclear weapons. The legacy of those two bombs is not just a story of war. It is a warning of the price humanity pays when power outpaces conscience. As long as nuclear weapons exist, so does the haunting memory of August 1945.